السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. فصل في المهاية. قال المهايئة جازئة احتسانا للحاجة إليها، إذ قد يتعذر الاجتماع على الانتفاع فأشبه القسمة، ولهذا يجري فيها جبر القاضي كما يجري في القسمة، إلا أن القسمة أقوى منه في استكمال منفعته، لأنه جمع المنافع في زمان واحد، والتهايؤ جمع على التعاقب.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم، والحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على رسوله الكريم. ربنا ظلمنا أنفسنا وإن لم تغفر لنا وترحمنا لنكونن من الخاسرين. ربنا فاغفر لنا ذنوبنا وكفر عنا سيئاتنا وتوفنا مع الأبرار. ربنا وآتنا ما وعدتنا على رسلك ولا تخزنا يوم القيامة إنك لا تخلف الميعاد. رب اشرح لنا صدورنا ويسر لنا أمورنا، اللهم رب يسر ولا تعسر وتمم بالخير، بك نستعين يا فتاح يا عليم. اللهم نور قلوبنا بمعرفتك، واشرح صدورنا بنور كتابك وسنة نبيك، واحفظنا عن زلل وخطأ في بيان مراد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. I explained a little bit yesterday with regards to this new fossil في المغايات, whereas in actual fact it's actually another bab of Bab al-Kisma, another bab of Kitab al-Kisma, rather than being a sub-chapter of the bab before this, which was with regards to istihqaq. Anyway, خير في المهايات. So what is muhayat? Muhayat is اسم مفعول, اسم مفاعلة, bab مفاعلة from the word هيئة. What is هيئة? هيئة is الحالة الظاهرة للشيء. The outward appearance of something is called هيئة. Then from bab مفاعلة, you take it into bab مفاعلة, we get a new meaning there, and that is called أيتواضعوا على أمر فيتراضوا به, for two or more people, because as you know, bab مفاعلة, both the fa'il and the maf'ul are involved in an action, and there's a mutual give and take. Like, for example, Daraba means to eat. Daraba Zayd Amran, the famous example. Zayd eat Amr. But if you say Daraba Zayd Amran, so even though you got the fa'al maf'ul, it actually means Zayd and Amr were eating each other. Understand? They were eating each other, for example. And so on and so forth. So that's one of the khasiyat of mufa'ala. So what is muhayat? Muhayat is yatawada'u ala amrin fayataradhaw bihi, for two or more people to mutually consent to something or acquiesce to a matter, and to acquiesce to a matter, thereby giving the consent to it. In other words, in simple terms, for two parties or more to agree to something, to do something. For two or more parties to agree to do something. And in the Sharia, the Shari meaning of it is what? In the Fuqaha it is ibaratun fi kismatul manafi, and ibaratun an kismatul manafi. It is a construction or a phrase which is used to show the distribution of the benefit of an item. And as I mentioned to you yesterday, in Kitab al-Kisma, mostly refer to movable objects, or such objects which can be divided, movable, such objects which can be divided. In a sense, such as a house, piece of land, and so forth. They can be divided, separated, where each co-owner's ownership can be distinguished from the other. However, there are certain items that can't be divided without losing the use of it, as we discussed previously. Previously they gave an example of a windmill, of a bath, public bath, and so on and so forth, or well. So obviously you can't divide that between two co-owners, two partners, without destroying the benefit of the the benefit of the purpose of the particular item. So, because you divide it well enough, physically divided. One of the parts will get water, the other one won't get water, or it'll dry up altogether. So the entire purpose of the well will be lost. The benefit that is derived from it will be lost to both people. So in such cases, we have this option of Mahayat, where you can share it on uh, um, a probationary period, and like one day me, one day you, or 1 week me, 1 week you, and whatever they decide. Or you got like timeshare nowadays. And the same timeshare, we both have shares in a particular building or a holiday accommodation. And so you decide, in this holiday I'll use it, and that holiday you'll use it. So like timeshare, that's all part of muaya. So this is permissible. However, as it says here, al-muaya جائزة استحسانا للحاجة إليه. At muaya, to divide the benefit of an item is permissible istihsanan, because we need to. I explained istihsan in usul al-fiqh, but for those maybe who didn't attend those durus, I'll just explain it here again. So, as you know, the usul of Sharia from which we derive our proof from are 4 in number. Everyone is agreed upon this at all the 4 madhabs. That is Quran, the Sunnah, meaning the Hadith, and Ijma, and Qiyas. And so Qiyas is derived from, although Qiyas is not actually a principle technically speaking, because Qiyas has to be based on one of the above 3. Your Qiyas must be based on the Quranic ayat or a hadith or ijma. And so in other words, these 3 things serves as a precedent for Qiyas. You can't make Qiyas out of your pocket. You can't make up a masala. And that's why they say Qiyas muzhirun lil hukam la musbitun now. Qiyas merely uncovers what the hukam of the masala is. It doesn't establish a new hukam, a new ruling. Now, what is istihsan? Now, basically, qiyas, what you're doing is you are bringing like to like. For example, if you have alcohol, right? So let's, like in today's time, about drugs. What is the ruling of drugs? Because drugs wasn't around before. We didn't have drugs before. So what is the ruling of drugs? So we see, okay, what is the reality of drugs? We see that the reality of drugs is that it is an intoxicant. Okay, has the Sharia anyway discussed intoxicants? We say yes, in the Quran and in the Hadith. What does it say about intoxicants? Khamar. It talks about khamar, specifically uh, grape, a grape, a grape wine according to the Ahnaf, right? And all wines according to the other madhabs. So this is an intoxicant, it's haram. The hukam is it's haram, or the wasf, the sifat of it is haram. We say, okay, wine has been made haram. Why? Because it causes intoxication. It's a muskir. So on this side, we have drugs. So drugs is like alcohol. Why is it like alcohol? Because it shares the same illah. It shares the same rationale, but it is also an intoxicant. So this is an intoxicant in the hukam from the Sharia, from the Quran was it's haram. This is drugs is an intoxicant. So therefore we will borrow the same ruling. We will apply the same ruling. But because they are like each other, in this particular common factor, the common denominator between them is they are both intoxicants. So therefore the hukam of the Quranic one will be the same as today's modern law. And in some very, very simple terms, very simplistic terms, what qiyas is. We are bringing a likeness, things which are like each other together under one hukam, right? So now, muhayyad is not supposed to have been permissible. Because from qiyas, what is muhayyad? Muhayyad is you are exchanging the benefit of something of the benefit with benefit. Okay? That I'm allowing my partner the benefit of using, for example, this particular item in lieu of him allowing me the benefit of the item in the other one. So you have mubadlu manfa'a bil manfa'a, or mubadlu jins bil jins, which is riba. It's akin to riba. So qiyasan, it should not have been allowed because it is a like of that. And it has a likeness to riba. And because riba is not permissible, so therefore this is also not supposed to have been permissible. It's supposed to fall under that family, so to speak. Understood? But now in the Hanafi madhab, beyond the 4 usul, there are the usuls which go up to 20 altogether. Not all of them are agreed upon. That's why it's not normally discussed in the main chapters of the usul kitab that comes after. For example, the practice of Ahlul Madina, Imam Malik rahmatullahi says yes, the other madhab say no. If all the shar'u man qablana, the sharia of the communities before us, we say yes, other madhabs say no. So you can use it as a basis for ruling. Other madhabs say no, and so on and so forth, right? Up to about 20 different secondary principles that certain madhabs use, and certain madhabs don't use it all, certain madhabs use to some extent, and some don't use it at all. Now, in the Hanafi madhab, although the other madhabs call it by a different name, they call it qiyas, okay? We call it istihsan. Istihsan is what? Where you've got a masala that is supposed to fit under a particular family, like I just explained now, with regards to maya'at and riba, supposed to fit under that family, right? But you've got another text of the Quran or another text from the Hadith that is excluding this from the normal qiyas. So istihsan, as some people mistakenly think, is not that we're using qiyas to exclude something, using our reasoning to exclude something from the Sharia. Na'udhu billah. No. Istihsan is where, if you want the technical definition, it is al-akhdhu bid-dalil al-khafi and wa-taraku ad-dalil al-jali. It is to take a more hidden or more not so apparent dalil in favor of a dalil which is more apparent and more clear. In this case here, the ruling of qiyas is more clear, but the ruling of jawaz, or the ayat which indicates towards jawaz, is not as clear. So we have given preference to one ayat over the other because there is an ayat which is showing permissibility in a particular case. So therefore we have taken that. And we have left aside qiyas. Understand?
Mm.
And what is the ayat? The ayat is in the time of Shu'aib alayhi salatu wasalam, when they asked for that miracle of the camel, he told them that they must look after the camel. And also he told them, Laha shirbu walakum shirbu yawmi ma'lum. That for the camel will be one day when it will be allowed to drink from the watering hole that the community had, and the next day all your people's animals can go. So one day only for this camel and her child. So because you demanded a miracle, now you must sit with the responsibility. So only the one day only this camel and her baby will be allowed to go, and the next day you can take your camels. Now this is the Sharia of those before us. Now obviously there are shuru to taking the Sharia to those before us. So this is the Sharia of the previous community was allowed the. And as I just said now, according to the Ahnaf, we can practice upon a Sharia if it's mentioned in the Quran, and that in other shuru, the other conditions. If a ruling has been used or was in practice in vogue in a community before ours, and the Sharia has not condemned it or has not made it illegal and so forth, then we can maintain that law in our Sharia as well. That's what the Hanaf is saying. So this is the istihsan. What is the wajah? What is the reasoning for the istihsan? Because there's a need to it. If we're not going to allow it, then many co-partners will not be able to take mutual benefit from the items. It will be really difficult. But to remove the difficulty, which is also one of the maqasid of Sharia, daf'u mudara, So therefore we have allowed this istihsanan. You understand the whole discussion there?
Sure.
Okay, ما for the whole long story, but just to clarify. إذ قد يتعذر الاجتماع على الانتفاع. Again, قد before فعل مضارع comes in enough تقريبا sometimes. Because if there is some because sometimes to benefit mutually اجتماع على الانتفاع, to benefit mutually from an item is difficult. You can only benefit from it one at a time. You can't both benefit from it at the same time in the same place. So that's why sometimes it's difficult to mutually benefit from something. Okay, carrying on from there. فأشبه القسمة. So in this way, it resembles qisma. And because I'm going to use the flat for one week, you're going to use the flat for 1 week. I'm going to use the watering or the well for 1 day, you're going to use the well for 1 day. So in that sense, it resembles distribution. But just only thing is here, you're distributing the benefit that is derived from it and not the actual thing. ولهذا يجري فيه جبر القاضي. And it's for this reason that a qadi can enforce muhayat. كما يجري في القسمة, just as how he can enforce his ruling, enforce his authority with regards to distribution. He can force the partners to a distribution if he sees the benefit in it and one of them is asking for it to be done. إلا أن القسمة أقوى منه في استكمال المنفعة. However, the only difference is that qisma, distributing the actual item, the ayn, is far more stronger in terms of gaining complete benefit. Obviously, if I can have a part of something completely for myself, the benefit is greater than sharing it 1 day, 1 day, 1 week, 1 week. Now I've got this piece here. Anytime I want to go there, any day I want to go there, I can take benefit from it. So obviously the aspect of benefit or deriving benefit is greater or to a greater extent in qisma than it is in muhayat. Understood that?
Sure.
لأنه جمع المنافي في زمان واحد. Why? Because it meaning qisma is to gather all of the benefit or to accumulate all the benefit that is derived from an item at one time, rather than on a ratio basis, 1 day, 1 day, 1 week, 1 week. والتهايو جمع على التعاقب, whereas tahayu, there you are gathering the benefit, accumulating the benefit, turn by turn, على التعاقب, turn by turn. ولهذا لو طلب أحد الشريكين القسمة والآخر المعايات يقسم القاضي. It is for this reason that qisma is stronger than muhayat. If one of the two partners is demanding qisma, a complete separation of the shares, and the other one is demanding no muhayat, let's share the whole space or the whole thing turn by turn. Yaqsim al-qadi, the qadi will give preference to the qisma over muhayat. And the partner is demanding qisma, his request will be given preference, and the qadi will force the other guy to accept. لأنه أبلغ في التكميل, again is repeating that this is far greater in taking complete benefit. ولو وقعت فيما يحتمل القسمة ثم طلب أحدهما القسمة يقسم وتتم المحايات. And if muhayat, again showing the thread of qisma, if muhayat was to occur in something which has the possibility of qisma. Right, so you got a building, for example, let's say a flatlet. Now, obviously, that can be distributed. You can make qisma of it between the two people. But they initially agreed upon muhayat. That's we're going to use like a timeshare. No problem. So that went on for a while, but now the one partner got a bit fed up. Because whenever he wants to use it, he can't. ثم طلب أحدهما القسمة. So thereafter, he went back to the qadi or whatever, or amongst themselves, they had agreed on the mu'ayat. Now he's saying, no, this is not working out for me. I want my own space. So thereafter, he demanded or requested from the qadi Kisma, one of them. Yaksimu, then the Qadi will do so. Then he'll distribute that flat let, in our example, in two distinct parts so that they each get their own individual ownership of their share. وتبطل المعايات, and the mu'ayat will become null and void. Again, لأنه أبلغ. Understood?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll stop there for another day, inshallah. See, any questions? Anything you didn't understand?
لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله.
آمين. الحمد لله. سبحان الله وبحمده سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك والله تعالى أعلم وعلمه أتم وأحكم.